Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take a whole heap of information and, well, we pull out the really important, the interesting stuff for you.
Yeah, basically cutting through the noise. So
Yeah.
you get informed without feeling totally swamped.
Exactly. And today, we've got quite a snapshot. We're diving into a collection of recent Nigerian newspaper headlines.
All from May 20th, 2025.
Yeah.
So very current. And it really gives you a cross-section of what's happening on the ground.
It really does. The range of topics is, well, it's wide. Politics, security, the economy, all sorts. And that mix often throws up some surprising insights, doesn't it?
Definitely. You see connections you might not expect.
So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive, navigate these headlines, figure out the key stories, what they might mean.
And maybe pick out a few of those, didn't see that coming details along the way.
Okay, let's get into it. Governance and politics first. It's always buzzing.
Always. So one of the first things that jumps out is INAC. That's the Independent National Electoral Commission. They've recognized the Abure faction's nominee for the Anambra governor race.
Ah, okay. So that signals some internal party struggle still rumbling on.
Exactly. These kinds of internal power plays can really influence who gets on the ballot and, the whole electoral landscape down the line.
Makes sense. And speaking of politics, the blame game in Osun State, it's still going.
Oh, yes. Between the APC and the PDP, all about that 3-month shutdown of local governments.
Right. That kind of back and forth. It often just highlights the deeper divides, doesn't it? And meanwhile, local services probably suffer.
That's the real worry, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to ask if the political point scoring is getting in the way of, actual governance for the people there.
Yeah. Is effective governance even possible with that constant friction?
It's a major question. And this isn't unique to Osun, Disruptions to local government happen when different factions are fighting for control.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. The Southeast Representatives Caucus, they're calling for something pretty drastic.
They are. The outright cancellation of the 2025 UTME. That's the big university entrance exam.
Wow, cancellation. Not just reform, but cancel it entirely. That suggests they think there are some really serious problems with it.
It does. Big questions about the fairness or, the integrity of the whole process. And think of the upheaval that would cause for students, for universities.
Yeah, huge disruption. Yeah. It makes you wonder about public trust and how these qualifications are actually handled.
Definitely. Then on a more sort of individual level, there's this report about Natasha.
Ah, yes, petitioning the Inspector General of Police.
That's the one. Alleged defamation involving the names Prof. Miguel and Akpabio.
It just shows how tangled politics and personal reputations can get, right? And how quickly things can escalate to, well, legal action.
It really does, especially now with everything online. Public image is huge, and disputes can easily jump from social media into the courtroom.
Interesting twist here. Delta State deciding to pull out of that lawsuit concerning the Rivers State emergency rule?
Yeah, what's behind that, I wonder? Different legal take, maybe.
Yeah.
Or shifting political alliances in the region.
Could be either. It shows that even on what looks like a national issue, individual states have their own calculations, their own priorities.
Precisely. Their own path to follow sometimes.
We also saw the courts dismiss that massive lawsuit from Shaibu, and $50 billion, was it?
That's right. Against former Governor Obaseki and others in Edo State. That's a big legal decision.
Bound to have political ripples there, you'd think. These high-profile court battles often expose the power dynamics under the surface.
Oh, absolutely. You get a real glimpse into the tensions, the rivalries playing out.
And speaking of courts, the wheels of justice. They seem to be turning, maybe a bit slowly, on those alleged fraud cases. Fayoses, that's N$6.9 billion.
Yes, and the ex-MD of AMCON, that trial stalled. N$76 billion. Alleged fraud there.
These cases drag on for so long, it really highlights how complex it is to prosecute these high-level corruption claims.
And the delays. Well, they just fuel public frustration, don't they? People start questioning if the system actually works efficiently.
Totally. That erodes trust, which is never good.
Not at all.
Now this one caught my eye. A lawyer praising the DSS, the State Security Service.
Praising them for what specifically?
For challenging the legality of a supposed shadow government in court.
Wow. Okay, that's significant. It would suggest some pretty serious worries about non-constitutional groups trying to wield power.
Exactly. And the DSS stepping in to sort of defend the official structures, it implies a perceived threat that's being taken very seriously.
Careful line to watch.
And then on the constitutional side, Femi Falana, the lawyer, argues that a compulsory voting bill would actually violate the Nigerian constitution.
Interesting. That brings up that whole debate, doesn't it? Civic duty versus individual rights.
It does, and it's funny. We'll get to a did you know fact later about Australia.
Oh, yeah.
They've had compulsory voting since the 1920s. Just shows how different countries tackle participation.
Completely different philosophies on whether you can or should mandate voting.
Seems like the run-up to 2027 might already be quietly starting, too. Reports of the APC trying to woo opposition governors.
With high-stakes offers, the reports say, likely linked to Tinubu's potential 2027 bid.
Classic political maneuvering, isn't it? Positioning for the future, building alliances.
It's how the game is played. These kinds of realignments or attempted realignments always happen as elections get closer. Shows how fluid things can be.
And even within the parties, there's drama. Like in Ekiti, the APC seems split on endorsing Governor Oyebanje for a second term.
Yeah, that internal friction can be a real headache for a party. Affects unity, campaigning, the whole lot.
Internal divisions can sometimes be as disruptive as fights between parties, right?
Absolutely. Can really shape election outcomes.
And the Obedient Movement, Peter Obi's supporters, they're saying he's sticking with the Labour Party.
Well, Obi himself says he's not desperate to run. Interesting signals there.
Adds another layer of, well, uncertainty to the opposition landscape and what alliances might form. People will be reading into those statements very closely.
For sure. Looking for clues about strategy.
Of course. Alongside all this, the everyday business of government carries on. New appointments, inaugurations.
Yeah, permanent secretaries in Plateau, a commissioner in Kano, heads of commissions in Lagos.
Plus infrastructure stuff, like housing estates being opened in Lagos. It's easy to forget this stuff happens amid the big headlines.
But it's the tangible stuff, isn't it? The things that directly affect people's lives, often going on quietly in the background.
Good point. In Ondo State, they're apparently revamping an old children's parliament. That sounds hopeful.
Yeah, initiatives like that, getting young people engaged in democratic processes early on, that's really important for the future.
Definitely. Also noted the Edo deputy speaker resigned. Could signal some shifts or disagreements there.
Resignations like that often hint at underlying tensions, yeah. Or maybe strategic moves.
And in Kaduna, a council has re-endorsed both President Tinubu and the governor for second terms.
That kind of local backing is an important signal, shows support within the party structure at the grassroots.
Right. We're also seeing state-level action. Bauchi trying new security tactics, Lagos resolving a land dispute, working on roads.
Shows states tackling their specific local issues, improving security, building infrastructure. Those efforts all add up nationally.
Ekiti's looking at solar power for water infrastructure. That sounds smart, sustainable.
It is good to see that focus on renewable solutions for essential services.
Kaduna's also calling for more collaboration with Mieti Allah, the Fulani Association, aiming for peace.
Dialogue, engaging all sides, often the only way to sort out those complex farmer-herder issues long-term.
Okay, wrapping up politics. A couple of traditional and local things. Monarchs in Ibadan and Ogbomoso rejecting the elephant as permanent council chair.
Shows the complexities within those traditional leadership systems, doesn't it?
Yeah. And Ganduja's nephew being turbaned in Kano, that carries weight politically and socially.
Definitely. And finally, it's Akiri youths protesting Aine's ward delineation. They held a peace walk.
Right. Emphasizes how crucial fairness, or at least the perception of fairness, is when it comes to drawing electoral boundaries.
Absolutely critical for community buy-in. It all shows that mix of modern governance and traditional structures, plus community voices.
Okay. Phew, that was a lot on politics. Let's shift gears. Security and crime.
Yeah, unfortunately, plenty of headlines there too. Starting with JMB, again, the exams board.
What's the update?
They're about to release results for the UTME Resit for 379,000 candidates.
Wow, that's a huge number needing a resit. Shows they're trying to fix whatever the issues were with the first round, I guess.
Seems so. And NAFDAC, the Food and Drug Agency, they've temporarily lifted the ban on sachet alcohol.
Oh, okay. That's going to stir debate, right? Public health versus the economy for those selling it.
Exactly that balancing act. Weighing health risks against the livelihoods involved. It's a tough call.
Terribly sad news from Borno State. Residents held a one-day fast, specifically because of Boko Haram.
Yeah. Just a stark, grim reminder of how persistent that threat is and the impact it has on ordinary people's lives in the Northeast. It's just deeply ingrained.
Awful. And in Anemra, a soldier killed by gunmen.
Another worrying sign of the danger security forces face. Any attack like that is a serious blow to peace efforts.
Definitely undermines stability. The EFCC seems very active, though.
Very. Reported arrests of 120 people in Lagos for alleged internet fraud, and they seized 26 exotic cars.
26. Shows the scale of the cybercrime problem, doesn't it? And the resources flowing into it.
It really does. The EFCC is constantly battling it.
The DSS also made a significant arrest, another alleged kidnapped kingpin.
And the detail that he was apparently preparing to go for a Hajj pilgrimage.
Right. Highlights the ongoing kidnapping crisis and maybe the lengths people go to evade capture.
Complexities of law enforcement, definitely.
The Army's been busy, too. Reports of raids on bandit camps in Benue destroying a kingpin's hideout.
That's proactive counter-banditry work in the north-central region.
But then separately, the Army is investigating an alleged assault by soldiers on a detective in Ebony.
Right. Emphasizes that need for internal accountability, too. Dealing with external threats and maintaining discipline.
Crucial balance. On a more positive security note, the Navy's got new aircraft.
Yeah, to boost counter-terror operations. Strengthening their capacity is key for maritime security and broader anti-terrorism work.
Good to see investment there.
Yeah.
And a successful rescue.
Yes, joint security team in Kogi Forest rescued 3 kidnap victims. A welcome bit of good news. Shows coordinated operations can work.
Definitely offers some hope. NAFDAC, again, this time busting alleged fake healthcare providers in Rivers State.
Arrested 1 person. It just highlights the danger of counterfeit medical services, Need strong regulation there.
Absolutely vital to protect people's health from fakes and quacks.
Then some really disturbing crime reports. Niger State Police arrested an ex-soldier and 2 others for allegedly abducting students.
Abducting students? That's particularly off.
And in Ogun, a suspected ritualist arrested for, allegedly, cutting off a baby's head. Just horrific.
Unthinkable. Just shows the extreme depraved crimes that unfortunately still occur.
Truly grim. And in Gombe, a stepfather facing possible life imprisonment for allegedly raping his 2-year-old stepdaughter.
Oh, God. Highlights the vulnerability of children and the absolute need for strong protection and justice.
Critical need for robust laws and support systems there.
Finally, for crime, a Lagos police officer being investigated for allegedly assaulting an Uber driver.
Again, it comes back to police accountability, doesn't it? Protecting citizens' rights in encounters with law enforcement.
Essential for public trust. Okay, let's try and shift to something hopefully a bit more positive. Economy and business.
Let's see. Well, there's certainly a focus on reforms. The federal government is talking of progress.
What are they claiming?
Rising revenue, lower debt, gains from the reforms. And Minister Bagudu told the World Bank that Nigeria's reforms are, quote, on course.
Okay, so positive messaging from the government about the economic direction.
And Finance Minister Eden says the capital market is key to hitting that ambitious $1 trillion economy target.
Right. Emphasizes how crucial a healthy, stable financial market is for growth and investment. You need that engine firing.
Absolutely. It's vital for mobilizing funds, both local and foreign.
Aviation Minister Kiyamo has a big idea. A single African air transport market.
Potentially huge, right? Could really boost travel, trade, tourism across the continent if it works. Much easier movement of people and goods.
Sounds transformative. And on aviation infrastructure, seems there's movement too. FG paid Nasarawa State for the Lafia Airport takeover.
Yes, and the upgraded Oyo Airport might start operations in 2026. So signs of expansion and improvement in air travel facilities.
Which is needed for business and tourism. Now, connectivity, big push there.
Huge. FG plans to roll out 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable.
90,000, that's massive.
Plus NITDA, the IT agency aiming for 1,600 ICT centers to boost digital inclusion.
That focus on digital infrastructure feels absolutely vital for Nigeria in the modern economy. You can't get left behind.
Fundamental, really, for everything from e-commerce to education to innovation.
Good news for students relying on loans. The National Education Loan Fund, NALFND,
reportedly paid out the April upkeep allowance to beneficiaries. Getting that money out reliably is crucial for those students.
Yeah, helps them actually focus on studying. The central bank, the CBN, has put out assurances too.
Saying the banking system is resilient and safe. Maintaining that public confidence is paramount, isn't it?
Totally. Bedrock of the economy.
The FRSC Road Safety Corps, they've promoted 18 officers to Assistant Corps Marshal.
Okay, strengthening leadership.
And they're vowing to crack down on fake driving schools. which, given road safety issues, seems pretty important.
Definitely need proper training and licensing standards.
Then there's tech integration.
Yeah.
The SCAC Corporate Affairs Commission and NIBSS, the Interbank Settlement System,
What have they done?
unveiled an API application programming interface to deliver specialized services. Should streamline things for businesses.
Sounds efficient. Using tech to make processes smoother is always good.
But it's not all smooth sailing. We're hearing concerns from manufacturers.
About what?
The transmission company, TCN, awarding a big $100 million contract to Chinese firms, raises questions about local content, perhaps.
Could be. And refinery repairs are still causing angst.
Yes, P. Troen, the retail outlet owners, they're alarmed by how long the refinery repairs are taking. Big implications for fuel supply and costs.
Yeah, those delays have knock-on effects everywhere. Highlights issues around efficiency and maybe domestic capacity in key sectors.
True. On a brighter note, though, the brewery sector seems to be bouncing back.
Oh, really? How much?
Reports say $1.9 trillion in revenue, and insurers are starting a campaign to enforce third-party motor insurance.
So maybe some signs of consumer spending picking up.
Yeah.
And a push for regulatory compliance.
Seems like it. The organized private sector, though, they're putting pressure on the Monetary Policy Committee.
Putting an interest rate cut, I bet.
You got it. Worried about the high cost of borrowing, hindering investment and growth. It's constant tension.
Always is. What's happening with fuel prices and supply? Sounds complicated.
It does. Dangote claims their Naira for crude deal helped lower petrol prices.
Yes.
But then other reports say marketers imported in $436 billion worth of petrol, and there's some kind of row with Dangote.
So, still a complex picture in the downstream sector, lots of moving parts and potential disagreements.
Definitely. And finally, for economy, that air agreement between Nigeria and the UAE allowing ticket sales in foreign currency.
BSA, right. Could affect ticket prices and how easy it is to buy them for travel between the two countries.
Could do. Worth keeping an eye on.
All right. Let's move to our final main section, social and cultural issues.
Okay. And a powerful message to start with here from Ol Soyinka.
The Nobel laureate, what's he urging?
For Africans to speak their own languages to their children.
Yeah.
A real call to preserve cultural identity, linguistic diversity.
So important in our globalized world, isn't it? Keep those roots strong.
Absolutely. Good news on the education front, too, university course accreditations.
Whereabouts?
National Universities Commission accredited 17 courses at Bauchi State University and 31 across Ekiti State University and others.
That's great. Means those programs meet recognized quality standards. Good for students and the institutions.
Definitely. Accreditation is key. But, looks like a leadership tussle at Katsina State University.
Over the vice chancellor job, those can get messy.
They can. And instability at the top isn't good for the university's functioning. Disrupts things for everyone.
Sadly, some tragic news involving Nigerians abroad.
Yes. The body of a Nigerian teenager recovered from a river in Ireland.
Oh, terrible.
An outrage from Nigerian boxers because the body of boxer Oluwasegun is still stuck in Ghana.
Just heartbreaking stories really underscores the need for good consular support for citizens overseas when things go wrong.
And international cooperation to resolve these situations respectfully.
On a slightly brighter note, NIDCOM, the Diaspora Commission, helped actress Jamoke George's daughter return from Mali.
Shows the valuable role government agencies can play in helping citizens facing difficulties abroad.
Good to see that support mechanism working. The Middle Belt Forum offered a perspective on insecurity in the North.
What did they say? They believe it's driven by fanaticism and poverty, both factors combining.
That's an important point, right? Addressing the complex root causes socioeconomic issues, ideology.
Right.
You need to tackle both for lasting solutions.
You really do. Can't just focus on one aspect.
And just to round off this section, a couple of anniversaries noted in the papers.
Oh, yeah.
The opening of the Three Gorges Dam in China, that huge engineering project, and the day blue jeans were patented.
Oh. From monumental engineering to everyday fashion icon. Shows the range of human history marked on a single day.
Exactly. Provides a bit of perspective.
Okay, so now for our slightly quirky Did You Know segment.
Always enjoy these. What surprising facts have we got today?
Well, first off, connecting back to that voting discussion.
Yeah.
Australia. Since 1924, they've had compulsory voting for citizens over 18.
Since 1924. Wow. That's nearly a century. It really makes you think about different approaches to democracy and participation, doesn't it? Compared to Nigeria's situation.
It absolutely does. Different ways to encourage or, well, mandate civic duty.
And the other one, it's about ants.
Yeah. Get this. In New York City, right in Manhattan, scientists found a unique ant species. They've even nicknamed them Manhattans.
No way! A unique species discovered in the middle of Manhattan. That's amazing.
Isn't it? Biodiversity popping up in the most unexpected built-up places. A reminder that nature finds a way, even in concrete jungles.
Love that. Manhattans. Okay, and we usually end with a quote.
We do. Today's is from Richard Branson. He said, "If people aren't calling you crazy, you aren't thinking big enough."
Huh. Good one. A nudge to be bold, maybe.
Think big, push the boundaries.
Yeah.
So wrapping up, just listening back to all that, the sheer amount and variety of news coming out of Nigeria in just one day's headlines is, well, it's staggering. It really is. Politics, crime, economy, culture, local issues, national issues. It gives you a real sense of a dynamic, complex country.
And what strikes me is how all these different pieces, even ones that seem totally unrelated, kind of weave together. They paint a bigger picture of the nation's challenges, but also its opportunities and ongoing activities.
You definitely see the interconnectedness. Local politics affects national stability.
Yeah.
Economic policy impacts social issues. Security concerns touch everything. It's all linked.
Yeah. For me, the standout surprise was probably hearing about the Manhattans right after discussing intricate Nigerian politics.
Oh, bit of whiplash there.
Totally. Just reminds you the world's full of the unexpected. And that Australian compulsory voting fact really sticks with you when thinking about Nigeria's electoral discussions.
It does. Makes you ponder different models and what might work where.
So a final thought maybe for you, the listener. Just how interconnected are things globally, even when we zoom in on one country like Nigeria?
And looking at all these stories, the political shifts, the security efforts, the economic reforms, the social issues, which ones do you think will have the biggest long-term ripple effects?
Yeah, something to mull over. Maybe pick one that caught your interest and dig a little deeper yourself.
Could be your own mini deep dive.
Exactly. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Nigeria's headlines.